We all know someone like this. Someone who can lie, hurt, or humiliate, and still somehow twist the situation until you end up feeling guilty. They'll avoid the words, "I'm sorry," like it's poison. They'll justify, deflect, or stay silent, but never admit they were wrong. Why? What's really going on in the minds of people who can't apologize? Is it pride, fear, or something much deeper in the wiring of their psychology? Let's start with something most people don't realize. Refusing to apologize isn't always about arrogance. It's about self-preservation. From a psychological standpoint, an apology requires one of the most difficult emotional acts a human can perform, taking responsibility. For most people, that's uncomfortable but manageable. But for others, it triggers something primal, a direct threat to their ego, identity, and sense of control. You see, people who can't apologize often have what psychologists call a fragile sense of self. On the outside, they might look confident, even dominant. But inside, their self-worth is unstable, built on defensiveness rather than genuine confidence. To them, admitting fault doesn't just mean, "I made a mistake." It feels like saying, "I am a mistake." That's a dangerous feeling for a fragile ego, so they avoid it at all costs. Research in social psychology calls this the ego threat response. When confronted with evidence that they're wrong, these individuals don't see it as feedback, they see it as humiliation. Their brain activates the same threat response it would during physical danger. Heart rate rises. Cortisol spikes. The mind races to protect itself. So instead of processing guilt, they shift into denial, blame, or silence. And the scary part, many of them don't even realize they're doing it. Their refusal to apologize isn't always conscious manipulation. It's psychological defense. They genuinely believe they're right, or that the other person made them act that way. It's a form of cognitive dissonance when the mind can't hold two conflicting beliefs. Like, I'm a good person, and I hurt someone. To resolve that tension, they simply erase the guilt. In their version of reality, the apology isn't needed, because they didn't really do anything wrong. This is also why arguing with them feels impossible. No matter how clear the facts are, they'll twist, project, or retreat. Because in their world, being wrong is a kind of death. It means losing control of their image, something their entire psyche is built to protect. In extreme cases, this behavior crosses into narcissistic traits. Narcissistic individuals see relationships not as emotional exchanges, but as power dynamics. To apologize would mean giving up power, lowering themselves, admitting weakness. And for someone who's built their identity around superiority or control, that's unbearable. So instead, they manipulate perception. They'll use phrases like, "I'm sorry you feel that way," which sounds like empathy, but isn't. It's a way to appear kind while still denying responsibility. But here's the deeper truth. People who can't apologize often carry unresolved shame from their past. Somewhere along the line, they learned that admitting fault meant rejection, punishment, or humiliation. So their adult brain built armor, defensiveness, blame, coldness, to protect that wounded child inside. The irony is, the more they refuse to apologize, the lonelier they become. Because true connection requires humility. And you can't have humility without accountability. From a neurological perspective, apologizing activates areas of the brain linked to empathy and emotional regulation, especially the anterior cingulate cortex and insula, regions that help us process guilt and compassion. But in people who chronically avoid accountability, these circuits are often underdeveloped or desensitized. Over time, they literally feel less guilt. Their brain adapts to avoidance. It becomes easier and easier not to care. This is why you can pour your heart out to them, explain exactly how they hurt you, and still walk away feeling unseen. They're not processing your pain, they're managing their own discomfort. It's not about you. It's about their need to protect their self-image at all costs. And yet, the refusal to apologize comes with hidden consequences. Emotionally, it isolates them. They lose trust, intimacy, and respect, not just from others, but from themselves. Because deep down, even if they can't admit it, part of them knows. That silent guilt doesn't disappear, it festers. It turns into defensiveness, bitterness, and control. They live in a constant war between the person they pretend to be and the person they actually are. So what can you do if you're dealing with someone like this? First, stop trying to win the argument. You won't. You can't reason with someone whose brain sees accountability as danger. Instead, set boundaries. Protect your peace. You can't make someone self-aware. They have to reach that point on their own. The most powerful thing you can do is refuse to play their emotional game. And if you've ever recognized this pattern in yourself, if apologizing feels unbearable, or if being wrong feels like a personal attack, that's not the end of your story. It's actually the beginning of healing. Because the ability to apologize isn't just about words. It's about emotional maturity. It's about learning that admitting fault doesn't make you weak. It makes you whole. It means your self-worth is strong enough to survive imperfection. The people who can sincerely say, "I'm sorry," and mean it, they're not fragile. They re-free. Because they've learned the truth most ego-driven minds never discover. You don't lose power when you admit your mistakes. You gain authenticity. You gain trust. You gain peace. The science of people who never apologize isn't just about ego. It's about fear. Fear of rejection, fear of weakness, fear of losing the mask. But when you understand that fear, you stop taking their silence personally. You see their defensiveness for what it is, protection, not power. And that realization lets you step back, breathe, and stop trying to fix what they refuse to face. In the end, the ability to apologize isn't about saying the right words. It's about the courage to look at yourself honestly, to own the damage, repair the connection, and keep growing. People who can't do that stay trapped in emotional immaturity forever. But those who can, those who choose humility over ego, become the kind of humans who make the world a little softer, a little safer, a lot more real. If this video helped you understand the hidden psychology behind people who never apologize, consider subscribing to Psyche Edge. Here we explore the untold patterns of the human mind, the fears, defenses, and unseen forces that shape how we love, think, and live. Stay curious, stay self-aware, and remember the most powerful words in any relationship might just be, "I'm sorry."